Pleasure to invite Rachel Ndungu, the CEO Biashara Africa. Rachel is a tech entrepreneur with over 17 years of experience and expertise in driving digital and financial inclusion in Africa and other emerging markets, managing a profit and loss of over $200 million. She is a renowned expert in the areas of technology, e-commerce, fintech, retail, and medium small enterprises. Rachel is an early stage startup builder and a policy champion in matters technology, innovation, and medium-sized small enterprises. She is involved in a number of initiatives within the tech ecosystem. Jack Ma's Africa's Business Heroes Prize competition, Presidential Digital Talent Program, African Customs Policy Networking, among others. Our speaker, Rachel, is the co-founder and CEO for Biashara Africa, working with women and youth-owned small businesses to catalyze digital and financial inclusion by providing skills, market, and financing, and founder Fibroid Center, a women's health tech inspired by her experience. She is a board member and policy advisor for Association of Startup and SMEs Enablers of Kenya. Team Power Monday, let us welcome our speaker, Rachel Ndungu. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Caroline Wanyonyi, for that warm and kind introduction. Much appreciated. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are good.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh,
we are good.
Great.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm just trying to cite myself because I'm not a morning person. I would still be asleep as at now. So when Caroline was saying this is her second meeting, I'm like, I need to learn something from her, you know? Yeah, how I should command my, you know, my week to start early. And this is powerful. I would like to know how you managed to have this meeting on a Monday at 7 in the morning. And I like what Lady Noel said, that you command your week on a Monday morning. I think that was really powerful. So really grateful to be here. Edna, thanks so much for inviting me for this session. If you don't mind, allow me to switch off my camera because you can be sure I've just stepped out of my bed. And to me, it's really an achievement, you know? So this is an area I need to work on. These very early meetings, especially on Mondays. So Edna, I guess I have like 30 minutes or thereabout. Okay,
yes,
perfect.
you have about 30 minutes, something like that. We are going up to around 8:15. That would include all, including AOB. So if you finish by 8:05, that's fine.
Okay, that's great, and thanks thanks for that.
This is a TM.
So I asked about this session, and I was told it's a very interactive one. I've been looking forward to it. You have no idea how many alarms I did set to be here early, you know, and quite exciting. And I would like to have a little conversation because we are all learning. I have a newsletter I write on LinkedIn on resource mobilization and fundraising or money issues. And this month of September, I felt inspired, and simply because this is very relevant to me, to talk about how to master your money and stretch your paycheck further with smart budgeting and financial choices. You have no idea how many times I've read this article. I wrote it yesterday. I've been thinking about it the whole month. I put it together yesterday. I have read, I have made notes, and you know, I've involved my friends, and we are really working on this and sharing our experiences. And I'll be happy to share this. I was told some of us here are in business, but some of us are employed. So a very good conversation to have on how to stretch our paychecks, whether we are in business or whether, you know, we are employed. And to start us off, I would like us to read a story. After the story, we'll have a conversation, then we'll look at a few ways how we can master our money. And then after that, I will be happy to share the article. You can read it or you can share with your friends or network. But this article, I wrote it because it's very practical to me. I've practiced some of what I've written. It has impacted me. It has improved my financials. And I thought during this time when, you know, it's really tough to businesses, to individuals, and we just need to master our money. Like, you know, like what Lady Noel was saying, you know, internet now has to behave. I was like, wow, I loved that. So we also have to master our money, and money has to behave, is it? Because we are the master, but and not the money. So allow me to ask a volunteer. I will share the article here, and I'll request a volunteer to read for us as I share the article.
Oh, okay. Just share it. We will read it. Dr. Ella is
Okay,
also not here who
no
loves.
worries. So I'm going to share. I share the link. I think it may be
Okay.
faster.
Yeah, you can share the link.
I've shared that on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here it is. Mastering your money, how to stretch your paycheck further with smart budgeting and financial choices by Rachel
Yeah,
Ndungu.
so
Okay.
I would like the person, whoever is reading, to read the story about Betty.
Betty started by creating, I start from there, or once upon a time? Yes,
Yes,
once upon a
once
time.
upon a time. Yes.
Once upon a time, in a bustling city called Mombasa, there lived a young woman named Betty. Betty was determined to make the most of her paycheck and stretch it as far as possible. She knew that mastering her money was the key to financial freedom and achieving her dreams. Betty started by creating a budget, meticulously listing all her expenses and income. She analyzed her spending habits and identified areas where she could cut back. With a clear picture of her financial institution, Betty set out to make smart financial choices. One of the first things Betty did was prioritize savings. She decided to set aside a portion of her paycheck each month, even if it meant making small sacrifices in other areas. She knew that building an emergency fund was crucial to handle unexpected expenses without relying on credit cards or loans. Betty also became a savvy shopper. She compared prices, used coupons, and took advantage of sales to save money on groceries and other purchases. She started meal planning and cooking at home, not only saving money but also enjoying healthier meals. Betty even packed her lunches for work, avoiding the temptation of expensive takeout options. Transportation was another area where Betty made smart choices. She decided to use public transportation instead of driving to work, saving on fuel, parking fees. On occasions when she needed a car, Betty explored carpooling with her colleagues, not only reducing expenses but also forming new connections and friendships. Betty learned the art of negotiation. She contacted her service providers and negotiated lower rates on utilities, internet, and insurance. She was surprised to find that many companies were willing to accommodate her requests, resulting in significant savings over time. To avoid unnecessary debt, Betty became disciplined with her credit card usage. She paid off outstanding debts as quickly as possible, avoiding highest interest charges. Betty knew that by managing her debts responsibly, she could maintain a strong financial foundation. But Betty didn't stop there. She understood the importance of investing in herself. She enrolled in online courses and attended workshops to enhance her skills and knowledge. Betty knew that by continuously improving herself, she could increase her earning potential and open up new opportunities for financial growth. As time went on, Betty's dedication to mastering her money paid off. She watched her savings grow and she felt a sense of security knowing that she had a safety net for emergencies. Betty's paycheck began to stretch further than she ever thought possible, allowing her to pursue her dreams and live life on her terms.
That's
Remember,
good.
oh
That's
yeah,
good. That's good. Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks so much. I didn't get your name. It just reads.
My name is my name is Otieno Paul Peter, the host for Live.
Otieno Paul Peter.
Yes.
All right, lovely. Thank you so much, Otieno. So I thought we should start with that story because all of us have finances we manage. And before I continue with the conversation, I would request that we share some of the ways we managed our finances to push that paycheck or the little income we have in the business to push it further with smart budgeting and financial choices. What has worked for you? I can have 3 people share their experiences.
You can also put in the chat. Some people you can put in the chat and we will read
Yes,
it.
yes. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Can we have some people share? What has worked for you? How have you managed your finances?
Good morning, everyone. For me, it's been, I think I'm blessed to be disciplined, especially when it comes to savings. So I save, and that has always helped me manage, especially during the time of COVID. We were in the house, no much business, but we were just eating, and life was fine and good. And that is courtesy of savings. So for me, I think that discipline of savings, and I always tell people, because this is also a subject that is close to my heart. I tell people, don't look at 10% or even 20%. If you can do more than that, 30, 40, the better, because it's still, your money is still going to help you in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Edna, for sharing that.
I am going to share as someone, as a lover of good things.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm going to share as a lover of good things. So I've had to sit myself down and ask myself, what is important, Noel? What is not important? Must you spend your money on this? And then I've also learned to now pay myself. So yes, I'm working, but in my salary, I pay myself and then I save the rest. Or else, I know me, I know myself. I will spend money on nice clothes or I will buy shoes. And it's not about eating or no. I'll just buy nice shoes nice handbags. I will be making my nails every week. I will be making my hair, buy the most expensive products. So just a matter of now instilling discipline in myself and telling myself, calling myself into a meeting and telling myself, no, this is not important. You really do not have to do this. You really do not have to buy this. How many pairs of shoes do you have? You're not buying an extra pair of shoes. You are not buying another bag. You're not doing this and this and that. Yeah, so it is just a matter of discipline and sticking to it. It hurts me. It hurts me that I have to see a nice bag and I won't buy it.
I feel you.
Thank you.
On my part, hello?
Yes, yes.
Olale
Hello.
here. Yeah, on my part here, I think what has helped me is that I've had a very good discipline in terms of having setting aside some money for savings and investment, and then a small amount for public PR, which is also called philanthropy. Just a small amount that I say, this is like just thanking God for the blessing. Then whatever remains, as we use accordingly. Thank you.
That's really a good one. I've not had someone else. So you set aside to help others, the fund, the
Yes.
PR fund?
Yeah.
Wow.
Then
That's powerful.
somebody, Wanjiku Gasheru of Weza Kweza, has also written there budgeting and passive investments. Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Someone else, we can still have time. We can have more people share. Yeah. And thanks so much, Olari, for that. I can see the comments. Yeah, from Wanjiko, budgeting, passive investments. Yeah. Olale, you've just shared. I've been disciplined to save, invest, and have small budget for PR. That's powerful.
Hello.
Yes, Kinyili.
Someone else? Yes.
Sharing on my part concerning that is, I try to get more clients so that I expand my income.
Good.
And I didn't get who was talking.
Kinyili Junior.
Okay. So you look for more customers to make more money, to increase your income.
Yes, and also you try to retain the one that you had previously.
Try to do what? I missed the last part.
Try to retain the customers you have as you get more customers. I mean, you expand your capacity to earn. I love using that statement, expanding capacity to earn.
I like that. I also like the fact that you focus on retaining your customers. That's great. Increasing income. Someone else?
Yeah, Eric
has said attending more networking events.
Brilliant. And Eric, why would you be attending more networking events?
Thank you. My name is Eric Obwaka from Billionaires Academy, where I teach people business networking so that you attend meetings and come out with value, income, and sales. I attend many networking events. Why? Because many positive people attend networking events. And when you mix with positive people, you know what they are doing, and the positivity actually infects you. So it helps you move away from the negativity of the world.
Perfect. That's powerful. And thanks for sharing. Let's have more people share. We also keep learning from each other. Please share how you are managing your finances. How are you stretching that paycheck or your income further? How are you doing it? What has worked for you?
Yes, let's put on the chat. Some of us maybe are doing what has already been shared.
Oh, okay. Possibly those who have shared have also spoken on behalf of others.
Yes.
All right, that's nice. So I will then allow me just to talk about a few strategies that one can use, whether you're in business or you're employed. How do you then master your money to stretch that paycheck further. Let's just look at a few strategies that one can utilize. I'll also be sharing what has worked for me, and after this, we'll be happy to have a Q&A session or just have an interaction on the subject matter. So allow me to start by saying that stretching your paycheck or your income requires carefully budgeting and making smart financial choices. And we look at just a few strategies that could help you. And you've actually spoken about more of them, so I'll not take much time on what has already been said. Create a budget. Almost every, most of us talked about that. Start by creating a detailed budget. And this is easier said than done. Many times you're like, I will start today. You start, you don't write everything. You get too busy, it's boring. You forget about it. I would challenge you, because this has worked for me. Create a budget. A detailed budget that outlines your income and expenses, and state your expenses line by line, and call it by its name and the amount you'll spend on that. This helps you to track spending. Also identifying areas where you can cut back. You can use tools like Excel, Google Sheets. There are budgeting apps for that, for some of us who are tech savvy. Budgeting apps like Monify, I just tried this, and most budgeting apps actually are free. And that's a good place to start. You could even start with an exercise book. One of my friend in one of the groups, she's not very tech savvy, so she uses an exercise book. Even when going for shopping, you'll find her with, and she's very disciplined with her exercise book. Whichever way and whatever works for you, just get started. Also, be patient. The first month, maybe second, third, you may not see significant changes, or you may not cut your expenses by 50%, but just be patient and stay disciplined. And I like most of you kept on talking about discipline. Be patient, stay disciplined, make adjustments where necessary, keep evaluating your budget, seeing what is working, what you need to adjust. Engage your family members, have accountability partners as well. But let's start there. Create a budget. If you don't have one, please, after this, let's start there. Second thing, now you have a budget, prioritize essential expenses. And I can't put it better than Lady Noel. I think she really hammered this one. Focus on covering what is essential. Focus on essential expenses like housing, utilities, groceries, transport, what must be done. And then also, list is also good, to list what is not necessary, but we are saying you focus when budgeting and spending on what is essential. And we look at also how you look at the non-essentials and how you address that. Make a home food menu timetable. Some of us are working. I don't know whether you're at your workplace or you're working remotely, but how many of us do this? You plan your meals in advance, make shopping list, especially some of us who have house managers. And even when you don't have, please make a home food menu or timetable. This will save you money and time. It will also reduce stress and you avoid food wastage, also achieve healthier eating habits. Please try this. You will thank me later. It also helps you to also be clear on the items you frequently use, so it informs your budget as well and keeps you organized. So please make a home food menu. And I find some of my friends putting it on the fridge, or posting it, putting the food menu timetable for the month. You know, like on Mondays, this is what we do for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, it's pinned on the wall in the kitchen. And then that helps them to budget. Then if Monday this is what we'll cook, Tuesday, Wednesday up to Sunday, then what do we need to buy? So that helps you. And also when you're buying, look for sales, coupons, consider also bulk buying. And I would like to hear from some of you, anyone who has tried bulk buying. There are places where if you buy in bulk, then you save quite a lot. Minimize transportation cost. Thank God, because of COVID, some days we work at home. So remote working has helped. That reduces definitely your transportation cost. But you could also consider carpooling with your colleagues, using public transportation, biking. Some roads, we have biking lanes, walking when possible. If you own a car, maintain it properly, also to improve fuel efficiency and reduce maintenance cost. Fifth one, avoid unnecessary debt. I'm not sure anyone talked about debt. You know, try to avoid, you know, taking unnecessary debt. And if you have one, you know, pay it quick and minimize penalties. Yeah. Edna was a banker. I was told once a banker, always a banker. And I would like you, Edna, to tell us how one could manage their debt better.
Thank you. Yeah, many of us normally take debts without really analyzing the cost benefit point of view of that debt. So we end up with the debts that leave us at a worse position compared to where we started. However, if you really want to manage your debt well, first understand why you want to go for that debt. Yeah, if you are going for a debt because your paycheck is not able to take you to the next paycheck, then you need to really understand what kind of debt then do you need. That is a short-term financing facility. So it could be the overdraft, but also look at the interest rate. If you go to Fuliza, you may end up paying more than 20% per annum. If you went to a bank, it could be maybe between 13 to 15%, but it would still serve the same purpose of short-term debt. If you're in business, maybe you are looking for salaries, your payment has delayed, that is still a short-term debt. So you can go for overdraft, or you go for LPO financing. If you have an LPO, you can do invoice discounting. If you have some invoices, you have already invoiced and your customer has accepted the invoice or received the invoice. If you are looking to establish your manufacturing plant, then you go for long-term financing, because by the time you get a piece of land, you buy machinery or equipment, it definitely takes a lot longer time, maybe 3 years and above, 5, 10 years to recoup your investment. So you go for a longer term financing. So to manage debt, first understand the reason why you are going for that debt, then understand the options that you have, and then make a wise decision. And the ultimate thing is to be disciplined. Once you get that short-term financing, you wanted to pay salaries, you wanted maybe to get some raw materials, don't be excited with a piece of land somewhere a friend is selling. So you tell yourself, but I always wanted to get a piece of land to put up a house. So why not pay this as a deposit? That is a short-term engagement, but now you are using short-term is a long-term engagement, but you are using your short-term financing facility to take care of that. So that will get you into some very bad mess. So I don't know whether I've answered your question, Rachel.
Yes, and thanks so much. You have comprehensively done so. Thanks, Edna. Let's talk about how to save on housing costs. Do I have someone in real estate here? A professional in real estate? Anyone? We don't have, eh? You can raise your hand.
The Ambola list also saying something there in the chat. On that, my dad advised to me on the eve of our wedding 35 years ago, saying, don't take many loans. Your life will start the day after honeymoon. Something like that. Whatever that means.
Yeah, that's a good one. And thanks for sharing. Yeah, I can see Christine, I'm in real estate. So Christine, you're a professional in real estate. In your experience, how can individuals save on housing costs?
Thank you for asking that. And my experience with saving for real estate is not huge in terms of short term wise, but it's a long haul venture. You start small and you go upwards slowly. You know, when you start designating your finances, you've got different pots where you save. This is for my transport, this is for my food, this is for my investments. That pot where you have that plan, because real estate is not a one-day affair. It's something which is longer term. That pot, that's where you start the savings, and whatever you put in there is what now can be multiplied into, because once you got some savings, at least you're able to approach even institutions who can eventually assist you in mobilizing this resource and build from there. So that's my short answer. I'm sorry if it's not satisfactory.
No, that's good, Christine, and thanks for sharing that, especially for those who are looking at acquiring a house facility. Anyone else in housing sector to share their experience? How can one save on housing costs? Anyone else in housing?
Or maybe Dr. Melvin can advise us. Dr. Melvin is a financial guy.
Okay, perfect. Let's hear
Melvin,
from him.
He's there.
Yeah, I'm here. What I'd like to say is that if you're spending more than 15 to 20% of your income on housing, get very worried. And what I'd like to suggest is that if you're spending more than that, you'd have to think of moving to a cheaper place to stay. I don't know if I've answered your question, but I'm talking from the point of view of those who are renting. And I think the same applies to mortgage repayments, unless there's a rental income which is supplementing your mortgage repayment. Back to you.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
And thank you so much.
Somebody has also put on a chart on housing. No. Avoid buying what you can't pay off in your lifetime. Leave behind inheritance, no liabilities. That's Wanjiru. Then
and that's a good one.
Then on Olale, on housing, the trick is to get COP loan. I think cooperative loan to clear mortgage earlier than scheduled. Edna wants to speak something about that.
Yes, Edna.
The other thing you can do if you are considering mortgage is do additional principal payments. When you take a loan of, let's say, 5 million to buy a house, what you will pay significantly first is the interest before you start paying the principal. So you can pay your house for even 10 years before you start paying the principal, as in a significant part of the principal. But what you can do to reduce your interest is pay more of the principal part. So if your monthly deduction that goes to the mortgage, let's say is 30,000 shillings. For the initial years, you will find that maybe 29,000 goes to interest, 1,000 goes to principal. As you keep on paying, repaying your mortgage, the interest rate, interest component of that 30,000 will be reducing, and the principal will be increasing. Which means, if you don't want to pay a lot of money in interest, because by the time you end up, you finish paying up your mortgage of, let's say, 20 years, you'll find that you paid more interest than the principal, or equal amount of interest. You paid like 10 million. So if you want to pay 7 million or 6 million ultimately, then you need to be paying an extra amount to pay down the principal. So if your deduction is 30,000 every month, try, if you are able, try to put additional 5,000 or 10,000 to go into principal. So you'll be paying 35,000. 30 will be deducted as per the system, but 5,000 will go into reducing your principal. So you end up paying a lot less interest on that loan. I don't know whether it makes sense.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
and thanks so much. Great conversation right there. Do you have someone else who want to add something?
John says from the chat.
Yes.
John from the chat says that keep your rent to a fifth. Try to live near your work or school of for your children. Don't be pressured by your peers or friends to shift just because of cloud chasing. Consider the service charges and cost of facilities. Consider availability of facilities like public transport, hospitals, and so on.
Wow, very well summarized right there. And thank you so much for your contributions around housing. That it's a cost that one has to address and relook at. Now, just to add on the same, and you've actually talked about, various ways of saving on cost, for those who are renting, for those who are considering mortgages or repaying mortgage. A very good conversation. And if you considering a mortgage, please engage professionals, compare terms with different financiers. And I liked the person who talked about considering a cooperative, or is it like a circle loan? Don't restrict yourself only to a bank loan, but have a good conversation with a professional around that. A very good discussion from Edna on how to save on mortgages, fees and interest, repaying for the next 30, 40 years, that was really good, Edna, and thanks for that. But I would advise, if this is something you're considering and it's good to consider, please talk to a professional, take time, understand options within the market before you make a decision. However, I didn't hear anyone talk about construction. You can acquire land and construct, but I think in that conversation, you also implied the same. But looking at maybe those who are paying rent or even mortgages, I've seen people selling out their mortgage and going to a smaller house, where it's cheaper. So you may consider downsizing your living arrangements or finding a more affordable place to live. And I like what John said, summarized that very well on the chart. And a number of you also mentioned the same. You could also share expenses. John also talked about additional costs. It could be maintenance cost, costs with security. And I think we do this unknowingly and consciously. We share this. So you have the service charges, those are shared among people living within same area. You could also consider renting out a spare room. Do we have some people doing this? A and B and B. Anyone who has successfully done it? That could be an option. You have an extra room. Why not rent it out? Look for ways of reducing housing cost, but remember not to compromise your safety and well-being. So that's quite discussed. I was eager to know whether someone has considered Bomayangu, the government project. Has anyone tried it? Is it working? The rates there are below 10%. Is it 9? I think 9%. Mortgages, you can also take a loan to buy a plot or construct or both at 9%. Sounds like a very competitive rate. Let's see how that evolves. Now, the other thing you could also do is reduce utility bills. Do you have someone from KPLC here? Or someone in the energy sector? Because this is a key area and could save you a lot of money. I've tried it out. We were able to save our bills by over 25%.
We may not have, but if somebody else can say. But one thing I've learned is the machinery that run in the house, most of the electricals like fridge is a big consumer. So one of the things we've done is, if you do not have to keep, you can always prepare the foods that you eat, and you clear it, then you will cook when a time comes. So it helps you, one, to eat fresh food, and two, to save on energy. I realized that sometimes you could just buy, for example, milk. You buy this fresh milk and you need a fridge on. The cost of keeping that milk to be fresh could be much higher than the cost of buying it. So one of the ways is you could use long term, that you buy the long life milk and things like that. So just trying to, the cost of power can really go high. I think at some point we managed to cut it by over 50% by just regulating the refrigeration. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant, encouraging, by 50%. That's great. Someone else who want to share how they manage utility bills, whether electricity, water bills? Anyone else? Okay. Okay, I can see Olale. National Housing Corporation had a tenant mortgage program to help tenants acquire houses in their lifetime after a decade or more. Okay. More options on housing. Okay, so let's look at utility bills. And thanks so much, Otieno, for sharing that, encouraging you saved 50%. So find ways of lowering your utility bills by conserving energy, turn off lights, the usual, turn off lights when not in use, consider installing energy saving bulbs. By the way, if you don't have this, just plan for it. Yeah, change all your bulbs to energy saving bulbs. Use energy efficient appliances. I think Otieno mentioned that. And this one, a friend of ours told us about this, spending less time in the shower. Or if you're using a bathtub, you swap bathtub with shower. It saves you a lot. Something we had not thought of. And you have no idea how much you can save on that. Just spending less time in the shower. So if you're 5 of you, you spend 10 minutes each. And you decide now to spend 5 or 6 minutes or less, how much energy you will save.
Better still also... don't shower.
Oh,
you save water, you save energy.
We still want we want clean people. Yeah. So you could also consider fitting. They call it an aerator. Is it a small gadget with tiny holes that we put on taps? So like the kitchen tap, instead of just having water flowing, especially if you have a house manager, so you could put that small gadget just to help with water consumption. The other thing is considering renewable energy like solar. You may have initial installation costs, but after that, especially if you have your own place, maybe start by having your security lights. Put solar there. Then with time, you could consider having solar panels in the house, and you save on the monthly electricity bill. Let's look at the eighth strategy. Okay, and I think we should stop here. I will share this with yourselves, and feel free to contribute the discussion on my various platforms. Cut back on non-essential expenses. And some of us have spoken about this, but just, it's a sacrifice. It requires discipline, but just consider cutting back on non-essentials. That doesn't mean then now, like Oteno is saying, now no showering, no whatever, no, not really. But identify non-essential expenses, reduce on them, or even eliminate on them. Look at more affordable alternatives to find ways to enjoy. For example, dining out. Instead of eating out at restaurants multiple times a week, you can limit dining out to once or twice a month, or cook meals at home and pack lunches for work to save money on eating out. Subscription services, maybe you don't need to pay for expensive gym membership, or why, if you have a field near where you live, maybe use it instead of paying gym membership. Yeah, so because of time, I think I would like to just mention one more, because someone had talked about that. Looking for ways to increase your income. Yeah, so this could be another option, and I would want us to look at this, then we end. So how do you do this? Explore opportunities to increase your income. This could be taking part-time job, freelancing, starting a side business. Use your skills or hobbies to generate extra income. Some of the ways you could this, for those who are employed, you could ask for a pay rise or a bonus. Please, before you do this, before you engage your boss or the board, I would encourage you to read widely and to prepare and document. Don't just go saying, me, I think my expenses are too high. We had one of my peers, so one of their staff, so comes to work on a Monday and is like, you need to increase my pay because, my expenses have gone quite high, they've grown by this, so you need to increase, and I can assure you it was not a very good conversation, so you don't want to find yourself there. So prepare for this, read widely. If you can get someone to guide you, like a mentor or a coach, do it. Document what you'll be saying or what you'll be negotiating, and just be clear on it. Then look for the right timing. It's not when your boss is declaring a decline in profitability after that meeting, then you're going to ask for a pay rise or bonus. You'll be surprised. The other thing is you could consider getting a better paying job. That could be an option. Thirdly, get a part-time job. But I want to put a disclaimer here. Or a second job, only do so if your current contract allows you to engage in a part-time job. And if your contract does not mention this or it doesn't have a clause on this, please engage your HR, use your wisdom, and ask for a clarification around this. Because you could be chasing 2 shillings and you end up losing 4, right? The other thing is declutter your home and sell items you don't use. I know some people who have tried this and it has worked. They have some appliances they don't use, so they put on these marketplaces and they're able to sell. So that could also be an option. Another option is create passive income. I think we had Wanjiku who talked about that. This is a good way of increasing your income. Passive income refers to earning generated from activities which are not actively involved on a regular basis. This could be like rental income from houses you own, dividends from stock you've invested in Nairobi Stock Exchange or other stock exchanges, royalties from books. Do we have authors here? Do you have people who have authored books? Maybe they could share the experience around that. Royalties from books, fees from online courses. Anyone, I think Edna, you have online courses. So fees from online courses, ebooks, a good way to create passive income, rental income from equipment or vehicles. I know some people who rent their vehicles or they put their vehicles with these hailing companies. So a good way. Happy to hear some of you who are creating a passive income. Start a low-cost side hustle. Again, I want to put a disclaimer, only do this if your job contract allows you to do so. And if it doesn't define that, please check with your HR department. So your side hustle could be something you set up during weekends or evenings. When deciding the side hustle, look at your talent, skills, and hobbies. Some of the industries you could consider: fitness, health, wellness. You could be a personal trainer, coaching. Beauty and fashion, you could sell beauty and fashion products or offer services. Technology support like social media management, graphic design, website development. You could also be a content creator or a blogger. The other one I've seen a number of youth doing is photography, videography for events like weddings, corporate events, and even your company, if it allows, maybe why not do their photography for the end year party? You know, you could save them cost. The other one is food. You could do catering, baking, teaching classes, and the likes. Also farming and agribusiness. And I know some of us are engaged in those businesses. Yeah, so I think that's all the time we had for today. I can see a comment here from Olale. Effective way to reduce water bills, recycle kitchen water to water the urban garden. I love that. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. Edna says, as a startup or business owner, which type of loan should I go for in terms of grant, VC funds, etc.? Where can I get it? Wow, brilliant discussion, Edna, right there. And I would love to come and talk about financing specifically, but possibly to take a minute on the kind of funding one would look for. It depends on the business and why you need the money. It also depends on the stage of the business. So in some cases, you'd consider, especially for MSMEs, in emerging markets, the main source of funding for MSMEs, these are micro, small, and medium enterprises, is loans. And when you considering loans, don't just look at the banks, also look at government programs. Like our government has a fund for women, for youth at very subsidized rates. You could also look at SACCOs and such organizations. Grants are always very competitive, and you may not want to start a business banking on grants. That becomes very tricky. And in most cases, organizations that give grants would call for applications, would invite applicants to apply for grants. It's always a very competitive process, but definitely one can prepare to increase their chances of getting grants, but it's not always guaranteed. So how we do it at Biashara Africa, we work with women and youth-owned small businesses in the areas of digital and financial inclusion. We give them access to financing through our partners. So we focus on two main sources of funding: loans and grants. So grants, we bring partners, organizations that offer grants, but to prepare our entrepreneurs to be ready for this, even to do applications, then we have a training, and we are actually running it now. We call it Small Business Money Program. So the program prepares them to be investor ready. So they get to learn how to make money, various financing options, how to be investor ready, how to manage customers, the kind of discussions you'll have with an investor. And now we are opening it up not only to grants and loans, but also to equity financing, where they can get an investor puts in money, and they give shareholding of their company. So we keep looking at various options of investing, but a very good discussion, Edna. I would be happy to attend another session and discuss matters financing. We may need slightly more time on that. Also, when you're looking at financing, also look at non-financial resources. And that's why I discussed resource mobilization. Because if you only restrict yourself to monetary or financial, you may miss out on opportunities that would support you and propel you to be ready to get the financial support. So really a very good discussion, Edna. I would love to attend another session and we can discuss matters of financing. Yes. Because of time, thank you so much for having me. I want to hand it over to you, Edna.
Lady Noel, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That was so no problem. That was so insightful. So guys, I am sorry today I'm going to eat your time, kidogo. But before I call the person who's supposed to give a vote of thanks, kindly allow me to call upon Maurice Omondi, who is the CEO of Kenya Association of Professional Fundraisers, just to say something about today's topic. And guys, Maurice has a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of knowledge. Maurice Omondi.
Thank you. Well, that is a big ambush. And just wanted to clarify that I'm the chairperson of the board of the Kenya Association of Fundraising Professionals. Others, we have a secretariat. So just want to thank the speaker for this, giving the talk today. I liked the issue of budgeting for the household in order to save resources, and even the final remarks that you've just made about the need for different people to prepare well when applying for grants. And that is an area where we are very strong in terms of building capacity of different organizations when it comes to resource mobilization. I've seen my colleague Cindy is also in the room as one of us in the Kenya Association of Fundraising Professionals. And basically the art of fundraising and resource mobilization is about winning the arts of donors, winning the arts of, not just emotionally. So we start first of all by getting into their emotion, their hearts, and then going to their heads. And then that is when you make a request. But I think this talk today has really opened our eyes on so many things which you can do to save on money. I like even Melvin's comment about how to reduce on your rent and or rather money that you're spending on where you are living. I like the speaker's presentation and even other people's contribution about how to save. I like Paul Peter's contribution when Paul Peter was saying that of how to save on water. It looked like a joke, but in reality, there are some people who really spend very, very little when it comes to using water compared to other people. And then you look at the statistics about the average consumption of water in the West and Africa, there is a very big difference, and yet we are all surviving. Others, thank you so much. It has been a very insightful discussion, and we look forward to the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Maurice Omondi. Edna Onyach, and to you.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you, my friend, Rachel Ndungu. For all the people who called her Ndungu, please find her and apologize. She is Rachel Ndungu and is a very good friend of mine. I look up to her and she's living her dream. Yeah, that is one important aspect of her. Thank you for all the people who have contributed in one way or the other. I like the approach Rachel has taken because it shows us that our money is king or queen. There's no way you are going to look for somebody else's money if you are not able to manage your own. And from our money, we can create a lot of, we can create a pool that can help us to achieve the other needs, financial needs that we have in our personal life, in our business life. If we are going to manage the income that we get, we are going to plan it well. We are going to, my challenge today is bathroom. And I think, Rachel, you may need to also think of developing another strategy, especially for people who have children, because the children will not leave the bathroom because the water is always hot there. Yeah. The other challenge I have is the menu planning, and I love the fact that you mentioned that home cooked food. So these are ways we can pool funds, put it in real estate, just a little, because it's more or less, we have a pot and it is leaking and we want to block a number of holes so that the leakage does not, outpour out of the pot. The pot has inlet, which is our source of income, maybe salaries or business income, but we want to manage how it goes out. So I love that approach of focusing on our income in order to mobilize resources for other needs that we have in our lives. I know we are here and some of us are business people, and we would really be interested in how we can get these grants, the venture capitalist funds, I don't know, seed capital, Series A, Series B. So Rachel, we will reach out to you again in order to help us understand this better for people who are in business, especially, and they'd like to obtain resources to expand their businesses. Otherwise, thank you very much. It was good having you, and thanks to everyone who have contributed. I've also seen a number of my friends here. Karibuni sana and welcome another time. I've seen Irene Karuga of Lemik Leasing. She's a founder and CEO. I've seen Frederick Angienda by Africa. He's also a member of ESEC. That is our association for SME and startup and SME enablers of Kenya. And all the other people I've not mentioned, please note that you are really welcome, and we do appreciate your participation today. Feel free to always reach out. Is the same link. I think there's additional information on the chat, how you can also reach us so that you can be added to the group. Thank you. Back to you, Paul.